Wladimir Klitschko versus Alexander Povetkin. All right. Most people don't really give Povetkin much of a chance, and neither do I, to be honest with you. I don't really give him much of a chance. I don't think he's, he don't have slow hands for a heavyweight. He's got quite quick hands, but I just don't think he's explosive enough to get in close quick enough and land big shots on Vladimir's chin. Wladimir is going to be on his A game. He's pretty much always on his A game these days. I don't think Povetkin's explosive enough to get in close and surprise Wladimir with any kind of explosive speed like a Mike Tyson, young Mike Tyson might be able to do. And even when he does get in close, Wladimir's going to lean all over him. Although the fight is in Russia, all right? So this is in Povetkin's home town and his home turf. It'd be interesting to see if the referee prevents Wladimir from doing his usual leaning and holding routine, because that's a very, very vital tactic for Wladimir Klitschko. It allows him to wear out his opponent very quickly just by leaning his weight all over them. So it'll be interesting to see if the referee allows him to do that. But nonetheless, even if he ain't allowed to lean on Povetkin, let's say that he ain't. If he is allowed to lean on Povetkin the way he normally leans on his opponents when he fights in Germany, like St. Peter and stuff like that, then the fight probably won't go 9 rounds, all right? But if the referee cuts all that out, then there's a chance that this fight could actually go the distance. In terms of tactics, I think that Povetkin is going to try and move a little bit in this fight. I don't think he's just going to come straight forward, because that's what everyone does and that's how they all fail. I think he's going to try and give Wladimir a little bit of movement and try and dart in with, punches here and there. Maybe he might try some in and out raiding tactics, get in, throw a combination, get out again, stay on the move. He might try that. But Wladimir's got very good balance. He's able to stick a jab on the move, walk you down on the move, and still get his punches off. He does struggle to land the right hand a little bit on a moving target. That's one thing I have noticed about Wladimir. When it comes to moving targets, he struggles to land the right hand a little bit, but he still manages to get the jab off. All right, still manages to get the jab off, and he still manages to put pressure on you. And that constant pressure that he puts you under can wear you down psychologically, and obviously it can tire you out physically as well. So I think that Povetkin will try and move a little bit, try and give Wladimir some angles. But as we know, as Teddy Atlas, Povetkin's former trainer, said, Povetkin is a 6-round fighter. He has stamina problems. All right. Now, it is possible that Povetkin, and I'm just speculating here because, Wladimir Klitschko and Alexander Povetkin are both having their drug testing done by separate companies, all right, or separate agencies, whatever you want to call them. And that leaves the question, are either of these guys actually taking performance-enhancing drugs or intending to for this fight? Because there seems to be a lot of mistrust around the drug testing issue, which is why both camps have got their own company to do their own testing, which is pretty much ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous. There should be one organization for both fighters. Otherwise, how the hell can either fighter know what's going on in the other company and whether the testing for the other company can be trusted? So who knows, man? But let's just say Povetkin was on something. Yeah, hypothetically speaking, he may be able to, he may be able to boost his stamina for this particular fight. But again, that's just pure speculation based on the fishy and funky circumstances going into this fight. But yeah, let's just assume that he ain't on anything. And it's the usual Alexander Povetkin, even though he would have trained a lot harder for this fight than any other fight, because he knows how serious this fight is and how formidable Wladimir Klitschko is. I think he's still going to have stamina problems, down the stretch. And I expect Wladimir to, turn up the temperature and start to land clean shots, around maybe around 7th, 8th, 9th round. If Povetkin really goes into his shell, I mean, we don't know what type of tactics he's been planning for, but I assume that he's been strategizing for stick and move tactics. All right. I know we don't often see that from Povetkin, but I think that that's what we're going to see from him. I think he's going to try and move around. I don't think he's going to come forward in straight lines. And yeah, I think he might make it somewhat interesting for the first few rounds as Wladimir tries to catch up with him and, pin him down. He might make it somewhat interesting, but I don't really give him a massive chance. At the end of the day, yes, Wladimir Klitschko has been knocked out before, so you never know. All right? You never know what could happen. He could end up getting, caught with something big if he gets overambitious. But Wladimir is such a professional. I find it doubtful. Although it has to be said that Wladimir has been a lot more aggressive in his last 3 fights than he normally is. Right? Ever since Manny Stewart died, Wladimir's performances have been a little uncharacteristic of him. He's come out early in fights throwing heavy punches, which is something he don't normally do. I mean, he ain't been coming out like Mike Tyson or Tommy Hearns, but, by his own standards, he's been coming out quite aggressive early in fights for his last 3 fights against Pianetta, Marius Wack, and Tony Thompson in the rematch. So, with that extra aggression, is it possible that he might get overambitious and walk into something? Hey, you never know. He has been knocked out before. It wouldn't be a surprise if Povetkin caught him with a clean flush punch to see Wladimir hurt or see Wladimir go down. That wouldn't be a surprise because, we've seen it before. But I don't think Wladimir is going to get caught with anything silly. And I think he'll pin Povetkin down between the 7th and the 9th round. And if he don't take him out around the 10th or 11th, then he'll win a wide unanimous decision. So either way, I'm going for Wladimir Klitschko to win the fight. Probably a late stoppage or maybe on points. Yeah, not hugely excited for this fight. But I always watch heavyweight title fights. Yeah, I always watch heavyweight title fights because the heavyweight division is the flagship division for boxing. That it's always been the flagship division. So the heavyweight champion is, the torch bearer for boxing. It's always been that way. So I always follow the heavyweights. And, when I used to box as an amateur, I was heavyweight myself. So I always follow the heavyweights. I always keep a keen eye on the heavyweights. And even though this fight doesn't necessarily excite me that much, I put my prediction out there. A couple of people on Facebook were asking me for my prediction on this fight. So here it is, man. That's my prediction. And my prediction was pretty predictable. Yeah, it has to be said. It was pretty predictable. So leave your predictions in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel this fight is going to go. I know Dwyer thinks this fight is actually a 50-50 fight. He thinks it's a pick'em fight. Maybe he sees something in Povetkin that I've not picked up on. Dwyer has been right many times. Maybe he sees something I don't see. Let me know if you see something I don't see. Let me know if you think this fight is going to be more competitive than I'm giving it credit for. As I said, I can see Povetkin maybe making it interesting for a couple rounds early on. But as the fight progresses, I think it's going to turn into a typical Klitschko affair. A slow, methodical, systematic beatdown. And he's either going to win on points, by a good margin, or stop Povetkin late. So yeah, hit me up in the comment section. This is Hatman. I'm out.